When struggling coder Sam Avery is publicly humiliated and evicted by his arrogant landlord, he thinks he's hit rock bottom, until the next day when he sees that same landlord on national television being celebrated as a visionary tech billionaire. But the AI company at the center of the praise? It's built on stolen code, Sam's code. What follows is a gripping tale of betrayal, resilience, and retribution, as a brilliant but overlooked black developer risks everything to expose the truth and reclaim the future that was ripped from his hands. This is not just a story of theft, it's a war for ownership, identity, and the right to be seen. If you liked the video and subscribe to the channel, let's move on to our story. Enjoy watching. The final notice was taped to his door like a scarlet letter, bold red letters screaming eviction warning. Sam stared at it for a long time, letting the weight of the words sink in, even though he already knew what it said. He didn't need to read it again. He knew every word by heart. 3 months behind. No job. Savings gone. Rent due yesterday. His stomach growled. He hadn't eaten since yesterday either. He stepped inside the tiny studio apartment that reeked of mildew and stale dreams. It was barely big enough for a mattress, a table, and the cheap laptop he used to convince himself he was still in the game. The game, of course, being the tech world he once had a foothold in. Back when his ideas made people lean in and nod, before rejections piled up, before seed funding dried out, before life stopped returning his calls. Sam sank into the creaky chair by the window. Outside, the landlord's silver SUV pulled into the driveway. Like clockwork. He had 30 seconds before the knock. 25. 20. Knock knock. Sam didn't move. He thought about pretending he wasn't home. Maybe the guy would leave a note. No such luck. The door swung open like it was made of paper. "You think I don't know you're in there?" the landlord snapped, stepping in uninvited. "I can hear your guilt breathing." Sam stood up slowly, forcing a smile. "Mr. Langford." "Don't Mr. Langford me, pal," the man barked, arms crossed, chest puffed. "Rent was due yesterday. Not last week. Not next month. Yesterday." Sam opened his mouth to speak but couldn't. His throat tightened. "You know what I don't understand?" Langford continued, loud enough to draw a few glances from the hallway. "You young guys always talking about your apps and startups, acting like the next Zuckerberg. But you can't even pay $500 in rent." A neighbor peeked out from her door, then quickly retreated. "I'm trying, okay?" Sam said quietly. "I've been freelancing and—" "Freelancing?" Langford laughed. "Translation, playing with your little laptop while real men work. Let me guess, you've got a billion-dollar idea cooking up in there?" Sam said nothing. "Here's what's gonna happen," Langford said. "You have until 5 p.m. Then I come back with a lock and a trash bag. You either pay up or pack up. Got it?" Sam's hands curled into fists. He wanted to scream, to say you wouldn't know innovation if it hit you in the face. But he just nodded. "Good boy." Langford sneered. "Now go change the world or whatever." He slammed the door on his way out. Sam stared at it for a long time. The clock ticked. 11:14 a.m. He made coffee with the last bit of grounds he had and drank it black. Then he opened his laptop. 5 job boards. 3 freelance sites. 12 unanswered applications. 1 rejected pitch from a startup accelerator. And an email from his mother asking if he was still messing around with that computer stuff. He closed the lid. Maybe Langford was right. Maybe he was just another failed coder with a broken dream and a Gmail full of rejection letters. At 4:52 p.m. he filled a duffel bag with clothes, grabbed the laptop and left the rest behind. Mattress, books, pride. By 5:05 p.m. he was gone. He crashed on a friend's couch. Well, more like a friend of a friend. Malik, a guy he used to game with years ago, now working retail and saving for a second-hand car. Not much but a kind soul. "You can stay a couple nights," Malik offered. "Just keep applying, yeah?" Sam nodded. "Yeah. Thanks, man." That night, lying on the lumpy couch under a hoodie for warmth, Sam stared at the ceiling and tried not to spiral. He'd been good once. Not genius level but good. His last app idea, an AI-powered learning platform, had actually gotten attention. One VC called it ambitious. But the deal fell apart and the co-founder bailed. Months later, someone launched something similar, better funded. He felt like a ghost, watching the future unfold, knowing he could have built it. He opened Twitter on his phone, hoping to distract himself. That's when he saw the headline. From landlord to legend. Tech startup founder Peter Langford raises $180 million in Series B. Sam blinked. No, couldn't be. He tapped the article. There it was, Langford's smug face in a tailored suit, sitting in a leather chair across from a CNBC anchor. A glossy banner at the bottom read, "Meet the man behind NextMind AI." NextMind AI. The name hit him like a car crash. He'd written that name in a notebook 2 years ago, a joke name scribbled beside a logo. The same logo now flashed behind Langford on the TV set. The article described Langford as a visionary landlord turned entrepreneur, who bootstrapped his way from rental units to artificial intelligence. Sam sat up dizzy. "No," he whispered. "No freaking way." He scrolled faster. The article praised the company's mission, democratizing AI-driven personalized learning. It included quotes about intellectual empowerment, accessibility, and disrupting traditional education. It was his pitch, word for word. He jumped to LinkedIn, searched the company, scanned the leadership team. Langford, CEO. CTO, Simon Malik. Not the Malik he was crashing with, a different one. Simon Malik, his old hackathon partner. The one who vanished after their last project. The one that never got funded. His heart raced. They'd taken it. They'd stolen everything. And now they were on national television, swimming in venture capital, while he slept on a stranger's couch with 2 shirts and a dying phone battery. His mind went blank. Then, slowly, a single thought rose through the static. They think I'm nothing. That's their mistake. Sam hadn't slept. The couch was too short, the air too cold, and his mind too loud. He kept replaying it, Langford's smug grin, the fake startup story, the billions in funding. It didn't make sense. Langford could barely unlock his phone without asking for help. Now he was giving TED-style interviews about neural learning and data ethics? Sam sat up and rubbed his face. The living room was quiet except for the soft hum of Malik's fridge. The guy had been kind, no questions, no judgments, but Sam felt like a guest in a world that kept moving without him. He opened his cracked laptop again. Searched NextMind AI for the 3rd time in 12 hours. It was real. It was everywhere. CNBC, TechCrunch, Wired. Even Rolling Stone had a feature. And every article said the same thing. Peter Langford, the unlikely genius who saw what Silicon Valley couldn't. Sam laughed bitterly. Unlikely genius? The man once asked if the Wi-Fi password changed every time the lights went out. He scrolled down the page and stopped cold. There it was. A screenshot of the NextMind interface, slick, modern, polished. But Sam knew those lines. The curved layout. The learning arc graphic. It was based on a mock-up he designed 3 years ago for a failed pitch deck. He'd only ever shared it with one person. Simon Malik. Simon had been a fellow coder, bright, ambitious, and charming in a white boy startup founder kind of way. They'd met at a hackathon, hit it off, and worked together on what would become Sam's most refined prototype. They pitched. They got close. Then Simon ghosted. No warning. No calls. Just vanished. And now he was listed as CTO of a billion-dollar company. Sam closed the laptop and stood. He felt the sting of it, not just the betrayal but the silence that followed. The way no one had listened when he tried to build. The way VCs stopped replying once they saw his face on the Zoom call. The way professors treated him like a curiosity, not a contender. He wasn't just broke. He was invisible. He left the apartment and walked through the neighborhood, past shuttered storefronts and cracked sidewalks, until he reached the bus stop. Not because he had anywhere to go, but because sitting still felt like giving up. A bus rolled up. He let it pass. He pulled out his phone and texted his old mentor, Dev. Hey, you ever hear of NextMind AI? No reply. A moment later, his screen lit up with a notification. Peter Langford live on Bloomberg. Sam tapped it. The camera panned to a sleek stage where Langford sat in a navy suit, polished like a man who'd never missed a payment in his life. We really wanted to democratize access to AI-powered learning tools, Langford was saying, gesturing like a seasoned keynote speaker. Especially for underserved communities. Underserved communities. Sam's jaw clenched. He remembered the day Langford told him to stop playing victim, when he asked why rent kept going up disproportionately for tenants on the first floor, all of them black or Latino. Sam had spoken out at the building's tenant meeting once. After that, Langford never answered his calls again. But now, here he was, selling diversity in a suit and tie, quoting buzzwords Sam used to put in grant applications that went unread. Sam watched as the anchor leaned in. "What inspired this project, Peter?" Langford smiled. "Honestly, I had a tenant once. Young guy. Brilliant. Always on his laptop working on something. I think he sparked something in me." Sam dropped the phone. He stared at the screen as rage bloomed behind his eyes. He wanted to break something. Scream. But there was no one to hear him, and even if they did, they'd just tell him to calm down. That was always the code. Angry black man. Too intense. Not professional enough. Not the right fit. Back at Malik's apartment, Sam sat in the dark, staring at the ceiling. He thought of all the nights he'd stayed up coding. All the sacrifices. All the times he bit his tongue during meetings where he was the only black man in the room, nodding politely while someone else got credit for his idea. Only this time it wasn't just credit. It was everything. He wasn't imagining it. They'd stolen his name, his pitch, his interface, his language, and now they were rewriting history in real time. He needed proof. He needed a plan. He opened his laptop and pulled up an old Dropbox archive. Buried in folders labeled final_final_ use this one, and version 3_but_actual_final, he found it. Nextmind_concept.docs. Created, May 14, 2022. Owner, Samuel Avery. He opened the document. His original mockups. Design specs. Target audience breakdowns. Even the learning loop algorithm he spent months refining. Was all there. Every page like a punch to the gut. Next, he dug into the website source code. Public-facing stuff, mostly JavaScript. But buried in the back-end metadata, he saw something that made his pulse spike. Copyright 2022 NextMind Labs, Codebase version 1.1. The same year Sam built his prototype. Too early for them to have written this from scratch. Not without access to the original framework. Which meant they had access. Which meant someone, probably Simon, had stolen it. He snapped a screenshot. Saved it to a new folder, Receipts. His phone buzzed. Dev had finally replied. NextMind? Yeah. You show me that at your place back in 22, remember? What? Sam stared at the message. Then typed. Because it's on TV right now. And it's not mine anymore. The first real crack in the facade came at 2:17 a.m. Sam couldn't sleep, again. He sat at Malik's kitchen table, surrounded by half-drunk mugs of coffee, crumpled receipts, and post-it notes covered in angry scribbles. On his screen, 2 tabs were open side by side. His 2022 prototype code and a cached version of NextMind's public-facing code. He was looking for a needle in a haystack. Then, somewhere in the learning algorithm script, he saw it. //Sam_loop_op3 experimental. His heart stopped. He hadn't even remembered naming it that. It was a temporary tag, a little Easter egg he'd left for himself when testing his reinforcement logic. No one else knew about it. Not even Simon. Sam leaned back, breathing hard. It wasn't just similar. It was his code. Copied, pasted, polished, but underneath the glossy front end and modern fonts, the bones were the same. His fingerprint was still buried in the logic. They hadn't even changed the damn variable name. He screenshotted everything and saved it under proof hard evidence, code1.png. Now he had confirmation. But that raised a bigger question. How did they get it? Sam pulled up an old Slack archive from when he and Simon were working together. Most of the channel history was lost, free plan limits, but he found one exported transcript. And in it, buried deep in a thread about testing environments, Sam had shared a link. Hey, try this version. Should be smoother, Dropbox link. It was the full project. And it was never password protected. His stomach dropped. Simon hadn't just ghosted. He'd taken the link, downloaded the prototype, and disappeared into the ether, only to resurface as the genius behind NextMind's core tech. Sam stared at the screen. He wanted to throw his laptop across the room. The next morning, the city felt crueler. Too bright. Too fast. Like it was moving just to spite him. Sam took a long walk through downtown, past skyscrapers he'd once dreamed of working in, past ads for startups that used to make him hopeful, past coffee shops where VC guys talked loudly about valuations and exits. All of them played by rules Sam was never even told existed. He thought of the accelerator that ghosted him after asking for a video pitch, and how the energy in the Zoom room changed when he showed up with a dark face and a quiet voice instead of the Stanford dropout type they were expecting. He remembered the investor who told him, "You're smart, man, but you need someone a little more presentable to pitch with you." And now the ultimate insult. The landlord who once called him lazy was being hailed as the next Elon Musk. By 1 p.m., Sam was sitting at a library computer scanning old tech conference archives. Simon had always wanted to be famous. If he'd presented this project before the company launched, there might be a trail. He found it in a YouTube video titled, "Disrupt and Why. NextMind AI Demo with CTO Simon Malik, 2023. The opening shot was surreal. Simon on stage in a designer jacket, calm and collected, talking about building a platform from the ground up and innovating around the idea of personal learning loops. Sam's face twisted as Simon clicked through slides that Sam himself had once laid out on a napkin. Then came the real kicker. Slide number 4, a wireframe diagram, almost identical to Sam's. Same module names. Same feedback model. Even the same colors. But at the bottom in clean bold type. Property of NextMind Labs, copyright 2023. Sam paused the video and stared at the image. Then he replayed it. Screen recorded it. Cropped it. Labeled it. The evidence folder was growing. Back at Malik's apartment that evening, Sam found Malik watching basketball on the couch. "Yo," Malik said, nodding. "You alright? You look like you haven't blinked in 12 hours. "I found something," Sam said. "Something huge." He pulled out his laptop and opened the slideshow still. "You remember that app idea I showed you back in 2022? Malik frowned. "Yeah, the education one with the feedback cycle thing." "This is my slide," Sam said, tapping the screen. Simon took it. "They built the whole company off my work. And Langford, that clown, he's just a face. A landlord. He probably doesn't even know what half of this means." Malik leaned in, eyes widening. "Bro, this is wild. I have timestamps, screenshots, code with my name still in it. You gotta expose this." Sam nodded. "I will. But I can't do it alone." Malik hesitated. "You think they'll just roll over?" "No. They've got lawyers, PR, money. But the truth? That's mine." That night, as Sam organized everything into a clean folder, he got an email from an unknown address. Subject, "I believe you." From e.chambers@mail.com. Body. "I saw your old prototype in 2022. I was on Simon's team for 6 months. I know what he did. I didn't agree with it, but I signed an NDA. Still, I can help. Let me know if you want to talk." Sam stared at the screen. Someone was watching. And someone was willing to talk. His hands hovered over the keyboard. Then he replied, "Let's talk." They met at a crowded coffee shop in Midtown, the kind of place where conversations vanished into the buzz of espresso machines and indie playlists. Sam arrived early. He chose a back corner seat, facing the door, hands wrapped tightly around a paper cup. He barely slept. Every hour since the email had felt like waiting to jump off a cliff. At exactly 9 a.m., a slim woman in a forest green blazer walked in. She looked like someone who knew how to disappear into a crowd. She spotted him, nodded once, and sat down. "E. Chambers?" Sam asked. "Aaron," she said. Her voice was calm, clipped, like she was used to measuring every word. "Thanks for meeting me." Sam leaned forward. "How did you find me?" "I didn't," she said. "I found the prototype. You posted it publicly once back in 2022 and I remembered it. When I saw the NextMind demo last year, I knew something was off." Sam blinked. "You remembered a prototype you saw once?" She smirked. "I have a good memory. And a conscience." Aaron pulled a small folder from her bag. Inside were printouts, Slack screenshots, internal emails, version logs. Each one carefully redacted, names blacked out, headers blurred. But the core was clear. Simon had copied Sam's work. One message stood out. "Simon understood. We'll rework the labels. As long as the core loop works, no one will ask where it came from." Sam stared at it. "Why are you showing me this?" he asked. "I shouldn't be," she said. "The NDA I signed is airtight. But I couldn't watch them climb off your back while pretending they built the ladder." She hesitated. "There's more. Langford's not just a front man. He helped bankroll the original launch, and pressured Simon to strip your name out of everything. He said, and I quote, No one invests in a broke black coder with no degrees. We need a clean narrative. Sam sat in stunned silence. It wasn't just theft. It was erasure. Aaron walked him through the company's origin timeline. Sam recognized every milestone. They mirrored his old pitch deck exactly, down to the quarter-year rollout schedule. But somewhere between 2022 and 2023, the language changed. Sam's name vanished. The interface was reskinned. And suddenly, Simon was giving keynotes about his passion for educational equity. "You could go public with this," Sam said, eyes burning. "I can't," Aaron replied. "If I break NDA, they'll sue me into oblivion. But you," she slid the folder across the table, "you still have standing. You still own the original." Sam looked down at the folder. "This is enough?" "It's a start," she said. "But you'll need to hit them where it hurts." Back at Malik's apartment, Sam laid everything out on the kitchen table. Code screenshots, timeline charts, legal printouts. It looked like a crime scene. Malik hovered over his shoulder. "This is wild," he muttered. "Like some Netflix doc in real life." Sam nodded slowly. "I need a platform. A way to show all of this unfiltered before they bury it." "What about Twitter?" "No. They'll spin it. Say I'm unstable or lying." "Reddit?" "They'll flood it with bots and bury the post in 5 minutes." Malik thought for a second. "You know who you need?" Sam looked up. Jax Reyes. Jax Reyes was a former Silicon Valley darling turned rogue podcaster. After being ousted from his own fintech startup, Jax rebranded as a digital truth-teller, exposing industry frauds and VC scams on his show, Off the Ledger. His episodes were raw, messy, unfiltered, and viral. Malik pulled up the latest one. Jax was ranting about a food delivery app that faked sustainability credentials. "This guy hates fake founders," Malik said. "If he sees your story, he'll run it." Sam didn't wait. He crafted a tight email, timeline, receipts, and a one-liner that said it all. They built a billion-dollar empire off the work of a homeless black coder, and buried the evidence. He hit send. 2 hours later, his phone buzzed. A known number. "Yo, Jax here. You got 20 minutes to talk?" Jax was everything Sam expected, loud, fast-talking, and suspicious of everyone. But once he saw the proof, he got quiet. Dead serious. "You know what happens if we run this?" Jax said over video. "They'll deny. Maybe try to bury you. You ready for that?" "I've already lost everything," Sam replied. "I'm not scared of losing nothing." Jax nodded. "All right. We go live tomorrow night. You bring the docs. I'll bring the mic." That night, Sam paced the apartment like a man rehearsing for war. The fear was there, lawsuits, trolls, smear campaigns, but beneath it all was something hotter, sharper. Righteousness. They had stolen his name, his future, his voice. But now, for the first time in 2 years, people were about to hear it again. Loud, clear, and undeniable. The studio wasn't really a studio. It was a loft in Brooklyn with mismatched rugs, peeling paint, and 4 standing mics set up in front of a velvet couch. But the reach? Millions. Jax Reyes paced like a general before battle, AirPods in, talking to someone named Misha about timing the upload with the Twitter rollout. His energy was chaotic but razor-sharp, like a guy who'd burned all his bridges and figured out how to swim. Sam sat in silence on the couch, laptop in his lap, folder in hand, trying not to let his nerves show. His stomach felt like it was full of gravel. "You sure you're good to do this live?" Jax asked, finally turning toward him. "I'm sure," Sam said. "This time they don't get to talk over me." Jax grinned. "Hell yeah." The countdown started. 5, 4, 3. The red light blinked on. "Welcome back to Off the Ledger," Jax said, leaning toward the mic. "Tonight's story isn't about just another tech scandal. It's about theft, silence, and a billion-dollar lie built on stolen code and systemic erasure." He turned to Sam. "My guest tonight is Samuel Avery. And if his name doesn't ring a bell, it should." Sam cleared his throat. "Appreciate you having me. Tell them what happened." Sam took a breath. Then he told everything. From the prototype he built in 2022, NextMind, the original version, to the Dropbox link he'd shared with Simon Malik. From being evicted by Langford while still debugging beta features, to watching the same two men appear on national television a year later with his idea in their mouths and $1 billion valuation behind them. He showed code, slides, emails, Aaron's redacted logs, the Slack messages. And then he dropped the kicker, the Sam_loop_op3 tag, the piece of code with his literal name still in it. People love the story of the scrappy tech underdog, Sam said. But only when that underdog looks like them. I had the idea. I had the tech. But the wrong face in the pitch meeting? And suddenly I didn't exist. The chat exploded. Thousands watching live. Jax leaned forward. You were homeless when they went public? Sam nodded. Couch surfing. Eating ramen. Watching Langford on CNBC talking about equity and access, while I was digging through job boards just to survive. Jax was quiet for a moment. You know what that is? Sam raised an eyebrow. That's theft. With a bow on it. The episode went viral overnight. Hashtags trended, hashtag next mine theft. Hashtag Sam Avery deserves credit. Hashtag TechWellBlack. Clips spread like wildfire. TikTokers made breakdowns. Journalists began requesting interviews. At 8:13 a.m. Sam's email was flooded. At 9:02 Forbes reached out. By noon it hit national headlines. Whistleblower claims AI unicorn built on stolen code from black coder. Langford released a carefully worded statement denying any and all allegations, claiming Sam was a disgruntled former tenant with a grudge. Simon Malik posted a tweet thread claiming shared inspiration, not theft, and suggesting Sam's contributions were informal and never part of a formal collaboration. But the receipts told a different story. More damaging still, Aaron, under pressure and guilt, leaked a second round of screenshots to a journalist at The Verge. One showed Simon directly discussing rebranding Sam's interface and removing his signature from a shared doc. It wasn't just theft. It was a coordinated cover-up. 2 days later, Sam showed up at a tech panel event. It was being held at the Manhattan Tech Convention Center, a slick venue filled with LED walls and expensive suits. Sam wasn't on the guest list, but that didn't matter. Langford was. He was scheduled to speak on a panel titled Ethical AI and the Future of Learning. The irony made Sam laugh out loud. He stood in the back of the hall, hoodie pulled low, phone in hand. The moderator introduced Langford and applause followed. Sam waited until the Q&A. Then he stepped forward. Question, he said loud and clear. Would you consider it ethical to build your AI company on stolen code? Langford froze. For a second the whole room did. Sam walked to the mic, because I wrote NextMind in 2022. And I have the receipts. Langford tried to wave him off. This isn't the time or place. No, Sam said. Because you humiliated me in front of my neighbors when I couldn't make rent. Called me lazy. Now you're giving keynote talks using my IP. Security started toward him. I've got the original files, Sam called out. Stamped, signed, backed up in 3 different places. And if anyone here wants to know what real innovation looks like, maybe ask the guy who actually built it. They grabbed his arm. Cameras clicked. Phones flashed. But Sam didn't resist. Because as they pulled him out, he looked back and saw faces in the crowd that weren't laughing. They were listening. That night the clip hit Twitter. Again. Different caption this time. Evicted, erased and still speaking truth. The real founder of NextMind just showed up. The clip of Sam confronting Langford at the tech panel racked up 2 million views in 24 hours. A slow clap moment for some. A PR nightmare for others. By the next morning the headlines had shifted. What started as tech genius accused of theft was now Langford's AI empire under fire. Media outlets were tripping over themselves to run the story, not just because of the scandal but because of the man at the center of it. Sam Avery wasn't what the tech world was used to. No Ivy League degree, no startup pedigree, no venture capital glow-up. Just raw talent. And receipts. But while social media exploded with support, Sam knew better than to celebrate too soon. Because when money's on the line, silence gets expensive. He found out the hard way. 3 days after the panel, Sam got served. A cease and desist. Language so sharp it could have drawn blood. Langford's legal team accused him of defamation, intellectual property misrepresentation, and unlawful disclosure of company assets. They were trying to bury him under paperwork. Sam stared at the letter on Malik's kitchen table. Damn, Malik muttered. They really don't mess around. Sam didn't respond. He was already on his laptop pulling up folders, dates, GitHub commits. He wasn't backing down, he just needed backup. So he called her. Erin Chambers picked up on the second ring. "They came for you," she said without even saying hello. Sam nodded, though she couldn't see him. "You saw the letter? They always go legal when they can't go honest." "I need more," Sam said. "Enough to punch through the lawsuits, the PR. I need proof they knew it was mine, before launch. And I need someone who'll say it out loud." There was a long pause. Then, "Meet me tonight." Erin's apartment was small, neat, and covered in plants, the kind of place someone lived quietly and thought deeply. She pulled out a flash drive from an envelope and handed it to him like it was radioactive. "This is a risk," she said. "But it's also the truth." On the drive, video clips. Recorded Zoom meetings. Internal planning calls between Langford, Simon, and investors. Erin had quietly screen-recorded several of them during her 6 months at NextMind AI. In one clip, Simon could be heard saying, "The core algorithm was from a guy I used to work with. Smart kid. Black. No resources. No real team. We cleaned it up, rebranded, ran with it." And in another, Langford laughed. "He can't touch us. Let him tweet. You don't win this game being fair. You win it by owning the board." Sam stared at the screen, jaw locked. They hadn't just stolen from him. They knew. They planned it. And they laughed about it. By the next morning, Jax Reyes had the clips. He put together a short video, under 5 minutes, overlaying Langford's public interviews with the leaked private footage. The contrast was damning. Langford preaching access and inclusion in one frame. Langford mocking Sam's financial struggles in another. It hit like a freight train. Jax called it, "The Truth About NextMind." It hit 10 million views in 12 hours. That's when the tide turned. Investors pulled out. A former NextMind employee tweeted, "I remember Sam. I remember the prototype. I stayed silent. That was a mistake." Another followed. Then another. More whistleblowers came forward, each confirming what Sam had already proven. The foundation of NextMind AI was built on stolen work, whitewashed branding, and manufactured myths. And now the cracks were visible to everyone. By the weekend, Langford went quiet. Simon Malik deleted his Twitter. And Sam Avery, the man they said would never matter, was offered a seat on 3 podcasts, 2 panels, and 1 private roundtable of Black founders and investors who wanted to hear his version of the future. But he wasn't done yet. One morning, just before sunrise, Sam met Erin at Prospect Park. They sat on a bench with coffee, watching the mist curl over the grass. "You changed everything," he told her. She shook her head. "You changed it. I just gave you a flashlight." "I want to build it again," he said. "The real version. The way it was meant to be." Erin smiled. "Then build it." "I can't do it alone." "You won't have to." By that evening, Sam's inbox was full again, but not with death threats or legal notices. With offers. Real ones. Investors. Journalists. Developers. People who'd been waiting for a story that didn't start in a boardroom and end in a betrayal. And in the middle of it all, a message from a new VC fund focused on Black-led tech ventures. Just one line. "Whenever you're ready, we are." The studio was bigger this time. Real cameras. Real crew. Real lights. Jax Reyes wasn't pacing anymore. He stood still, focused, like a man who knew exactly what was about to happen. This wasn't just another podcast episode. This was a declaration. Sam adjusted the mic clip to his collar as the producer gave the 10-second countdown. He wore a simple black hoodie and jeans, not because he was trying to make a statement, but because he didn't have anything else. And maybe that said enough. Next to him sat Erin Chambers, calm and composed, the face of someone who had once been scared, and now was done hiding. 4, 3, 2, 1. Fade in. "Tonight," Jax said, "we bring you a story that's no longer just about tech theft. It's about how the system was designed to make it possible in the first place." He turned towards Sam and Erin. "We're not here to speculate anymore. We're here to show receipts." Sam took a deep breath and began. He walked viewers through the story, again, but this time with clarity, confidence, and live exhibits. He pulled up documents, open source code, walked through time-stamped prototypes. And then Erin played the leaked Zoom clips. The moment Langford laughed about burying Sam. The moment Simon said Sam was brilliant but invisible. Jax let it sit in silence for a beat. Then he said, "You know what happens to people who get caught like this?" Aaron replied without flinching, "Usually? Nothing." But this time something was different, because the cameras were rolling. And this time people were watching. Over the next 48 hours, the fallout hit like a series of detonations. CNN breaking news. Tech CEO accused of IP theft in viral broadcast. Bloomberg. NextMind investors begin pullout amid stolen IP claims. TechCrunch. Langford's silence deepens questions around diversity and ethics in tech. Even the New York Times ran the headline, "The billion-dollar idea that wasn't theirs." By day 3, Langford stepped down as CEO. By day 4, Simon Malik's LinkedIn profile vanished. By day 5, NextMind AI suspended operations, pending internal audit. Sam didn't gloat. He didn't post a victory thread. He just sat in Malik's apartment staring at his laptop, the same one he built that first prototype on, and quietly opened a blank slide deck. Across the top, "Rebuilding NextMind, the right way." He was finally ready. But not everyone had forgotten the damage. An old tenant from Langford's building DM'd him. "He told me to my face I was wasting my life. Now I see he wasted yours to get ahead. Thank you for speaking." Another message from a black college student in computer science. "I almost gave up. Then I saw you fight back. I'm not quitting anymore." Then another from an anonymous burner account. "I was on the investor call where they joked about taking your code. I said nothing. I'm sorry. But I believe in you now." Sam saved every message. He didn't reply to most. He just kept building. 2 weeks later, he stood on a small stage at the Founders of the Future Summit, an event he never would have been invited to just a month earlier. No Langfords here. No stolen suits or whitewashed buzzwords. Just creators, doers, people who were listening. Sam walked up to the podium. He didn't start with the scandal. He didn't mention Langford or Simon by name. He just opened his laptop and said, "This is NextMind. The real version. The one built to empower, not exploit." He ran the demo live. It worked beautifully. And this time the applause wasn't stolen. It was earned. The apartment was quiet. Not Malik's this time. Sam had moved out 2 days ago into a small but clean one-bedroom in Harlem. No peeling paint. No mildew smell. Just sun pouring in through tall windows and the hum of a space that finally felt like his. He sat on the edge of his new couch, laptop balanced on his knees, staring at the inbox he never thought he'd have. Offers. Partnerships. Speaking invites. Seed funding. Even a message from the CEO of a major edtech firm offering to license his learning loop under his name. No middleman, no face of the company, just Sam Avery at the top of the contract. For once, the power wasn't in someone else's hands. It was in his. He closed the lid, exhaled, and let the silence fill the room. Not the silence of being ignored, but the kind that follows a fight finally won. That afternoon, he met Aaron in a co-working space they were now renting together. A small office with nothing but 2 desks, a whiteboard, and a window facing the city skyline. "Investor call in 30, she said, handing him a coffee. "They want to move fast." Sam nodded. "We don't rush. We build it right." They were co-founders now. Real ones. "Ickle." She smiled. "I'll follow your lead." On the whiteboard behind them were 3 words in bold letters. Equity through intelligence. Not just a slogan, a mission. NextMind rebuilt from scratch. Accessible. Transparent. Blacklit. And real. Outside, the world kept moving, but it wasn't passing him by anymore. Jax Reyes had invited him back for a "Where are they now?" follow-up, but Sam politely declined. He didn't want to rehash the war. He wanted to build peace. Langford had disappeared from the public eye. Rumors said he'd liquidated what was left of his shares and moved to another coast. Simon was reportedly exploring new opportunities, which was code for hiding from litigation. But Sam didn't care anymore. He wasn't chasing them. He was chasing forward. 1 week later he returned to the old neighborhood, not to relive it but to reclaim it. The building he'd been evicted from still stood, same crooked shutters, same rusted gate. But the energy was different now, because people recognized him. A teenager stopped him outside the corner bodega. "Yo, you're the guy, right? From the AI thing?" Sam smiled. "Yeah, that's me." The kid nodded. You proved they were wrong. Sam didn't respond right away. Then he said, they weren't all wrong. Just loud. He handed the kid a card with the new NextMind logo. Hit me up when you're ready to build. At night, Sam returned to his apartment and pulled out the old laptop, the battered, cracked one from before the world started listening. He opened the original prototype. It still worked. Buggy. Clunky. But brilliant. He stared at it for a long time, then saved a final copy with a new name. NextMind_origin_final_acclaimed.zip. Then he shut the lid. Weeks passed. Then months. The new version launched with minimal fanfare. No hype campaigns, no fake backstories. Just users. Real ones. Teachers in Detroit. Tutors in Lagos. Students in Queens. And one day an email landed in Sam's inbox. Subject: just wanted to say thank you. Body: I've been using your platform to help my little brother learn math. He used to hate it. Now he won't stop solving problems on his own. Whatever you built, it works. And it's helping kids who've never had tools like this before. So thank you. P.S. Your name's on it this time. I checked. Sam read it twice. Then a third time. Then he smiled. Not the smile of a man who won. The smile of a man who earned it. He stepped out onto his fire escape, city lights blinking like pixels in the distance. For the first time in years he felt calm. Not because the world had changed, but because he had. And now no one could erase him again. Not from the code. Not from the credit. Not from the story. This time he was the author. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video.